Get the Friendo Club set up today and get access to over 700 Going In Raw bonus episodes, our monthly Big Blue predictions challenges, and the ability to ask questions at Going In Raw. We also offer the Steven Larson comic book and exclusive Friendo Club t-shirt. Just hit join here at youtube.com/Steven Larson or go to patreon.com/Steven Larson to sign up. Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
Al Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. On today's episode, we're going to take a look at AEW Dynamite, NXT, and we've got some news, or at least there's some contract news that might or might not, way or no way, give us some indication as to what we might expect in terms of various potential surprises for the Royal Rumble, Larson. So why don't we go ahead and kick off?
Surprises are one of the great joys of the Royal Rumble. Surprise return, surprise entrance. So according to PW Insider, we were really close, seemingly, to Alexa Bliss making a return to WWE when Raw made their stop in San Jose on January 13th, about 10 days ago. PW Insider reports that Bliss was to return as part of the Wyatt 6 story, but plans for a Bliss return, including an appearance at the Rumble, were, quote, put on hold indefinitely, with one source stating that it was a contract issue. Since then, Wyatt 6 moved to SmackDown. On the latest Wrestling Observer Radio, Meltzer talked more about why plans for Bliss's return apparently fell through, saying the following. These transcripts come to you from WrestlingNews.co. Quote, so the deal with Alexa Bliss is she was supposed to be on the show in San Jose, and there's a contract. They have not come to terms on a contract, but she was going to debut. Thing is, she was going to debut against the Wyatt 6, but the Wyatt 6 had been moved to SmackDown, so it kind of made no sense for her to be on Raw. But anyway, right now, she was expected to come back. They're just working out a contract deal. That's where everything stands right now.
I really like that if that is true, that they're going to go straight up with Alexa and the Wyatt 6. Obviously, Nikki is in the Wyatt 6. A lot of history, no matter what angle there, because Nikki and Alexa used to be partners. Obviously, Alexa and Bray were partners as well. A lot of history in that, and it sort of drags the Wyatt 6 up out of purgatory, limbo, wherever they may be right now.
Yeah. Kind of aimless stories when they're even on TV. It seemed like there was a direction with the Alpha Academy / American Made stuff, but then everybody was the same afterwards, so really didn't have much bearing on the stories going forward, which is a disappointment because it seemed like the Wyatt 6 thing, the group was there to make a significant impact based especially on the debut, as feud with Chad Gable. He's the same person before and after, so obviously not much of an impact.
Well, you can't make an impact in any way, shape, or form when you're not on television, you know? I mean, you make a good point, but the bottom line is, even if that's the case and they were feuding with other people in a more traditional pro wrestling sense, builds to pay-per-views and whatever, like, at least we'd get the entertainment value out of the awesome performers within the group. And we're not even getting that. So ideally, if they bring back Alexa, that's going to be a big deal that can't be ignored. And so if they put her in a thing with the Wyatts, then none of them will be ignored. I'll be happy because I'll get to see everybody I like on the television. Yeah. So good to hear that there was at least plans to bring her back and they're negotiating all this stuff. She's been gone for a very long time.
She has. I
forget exactly how long, but I want to say the last time we saw her was in late 2023, maybe early 2023. Might have been late 2023. But yeah, it's been a long time.
It has been.
So good to see her. Next.
In news of other potential returns, today, it's Thursday, it's January 23rd, WrestleVote reported on another potential return, tweeting the following, quote, we're told significant discussions have taken place regarding a Nikki Bella return to action with a strong expectation from multiple WWE sources that'll happen sooner rather than later. She was sitting ringside, I believe, on the Raw debut on Netflix.
Correct.
She was one of the legends sitting ringside, when they would show people in the crowd. Her returning on the Rumble makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, dude, right now, I don't know if you've heard, but WWE's on fire. And when you have, uh, that's my favorite phrase right now. I say that, by the way, totally tongue in cheek, because I stole it from, there's like a WrestleMania promo that they did, like a little WrestleMania promo video, and it starts off with like an explosion and Triple H saying WWE's on fire.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So that's where I get it from. I'm not that much of a mark. But yeah, having Nikki come back, that'd be great. You know, there was a period of time when it seemed like they were on the outs with WWE, and we might have seen what's her actual name?
Garcia,
yeah. Maybe she would reunite with her brother Daniel Garcia. I don't know. In AEW, but right now, of course, AEW, WWE on fire. So that's the place to go. And the Rumble, man, they got this. Let me ask you this really quick, because there's a couple others. You know, Alistair might come back at the Rumble. I think that's a possibility.
Seems like confirmed done with AEW, yeah.
Seems like. Well, yeah, they turned him into a dog on AEW.
Oh, maybe he's still in AEW then.
Yeah, that could be. You know, they look down. Roar, roar. Okay, we'll do that.
All right,
our new leader, Dog, House of Dog. So yeah, you know, Alistair might come back. But dude, here's the thing about WWE right now. They're on fire. They've got so many people. Should they expand the Rumble to 40 entrants? Especially, dude, you've got like 20 women in NXT that should be in this thing.
I say absolutely yes. More Rumble, the better. I feel
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Expand this thing. 2 greatest Rumbles every single year, men's and women's, 50 people each.
3-match Rumble card. 2 Rumbles.
They got partnerships. Global localization on fire.
Some TNA Impact talent in there too.
Yeah, exactly. Noah,
some talent from Pro Wrestling Noah,
right?
Yeah.
You know, build a relationship in Mexico, perhaps. You know, Andrade ain't gonna be in this thing unless they expand it to 40 wrestlers.
Oh no, he might be in it.
He ain't.
He
ain't.
might.
It's gonna be him or Ludwig. Who gets in?
Oh, probably Ludwig.
Yeah, then Andrade's out. Dude, there's gonna be. I did the math on this over at WrestleJuice. I did 2 videos where I looked at every entrant in the Rumble that I think is gonna show up. Andrade gets the cut, man.
Didn't make the cut, huh?
Didn't make the cut.
You know, I had an idea. This is kind of a tangent, but I'm gonna pitch a programming idea to you, Friendo Club Wrestling. Our last Rumble video did so well.
Yeah.
Booking the worst Rumble.
Yeah.
I feel like we should try to book a Rumble that's all returns.
Oh, an all return Rumble.
All return or all surprise entrant Rumble.
Oh, that's good. Okay, that's good. Okay, I like it. Yeah, we'll do it. I like it.
Anybody that's conceivably possible. So obviously no one under contract at AEW can be in it, but otherwise, yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of potential there for some Rumble returns. Obviously, we're already going to get Becky. They did a video package on Charlotte. We know that.
Yeah.
What other, like Masha Slamovich
That'd be
and
great.
Joe Hendry? I really feel like TNA is going to be represented by their champions in the Rumbles. Although people are saying Joe is on like the Jericho cruise or something like that.
I feel like happening.
What's that?
That's the one that's upcoming.
I think so.
When is that happening? Is that Rumble weekend?
I think it's Rumble weekend. That's what people were telling me in my WrestleJuice comments.
Maybe at some point in the next week or so, Joe's going to be like, I remembered I get seasick.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I believe in seasickness.
So then Jack here says Joe Hendry is doing an indie event in.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay, I thought it was a cruise. I don't know, man. I got like.
But then someone else is saying that he's on the cruise from the 2nd, so it's the day after the Rumble.
Oh, okay. Well, an indie event in Indy on Rumble weekend. Well, the Rumble's in Indy.
Yeah.
Okay, well, he'll be there.
But then Joe would have to hop on a plane to go, depending on where the cruise is disembarking from, either to Florida or to California, I would guess.
Listen, the WWE plane is at your disposal, Joe. I believe in flight. So, yeah, he'll do it all. Man. He's the face of TNA now, man.
He is. He's their champion.
Jordan Grace is going to be in that thing, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Believe that
She's
shit.
gonna be in the Rumble.
Absolutely. You see her snub Tessa in that backstage video? It's funny stuff. Bryan Danielson, you think he's going to be in the Rumble? Yeah or nay?
Danielson, no way.
Danielson, no way. Not going to happen.
I think he still does. He still works creative for AEW.
Fletcher says, say his name and he gets seasick.
There we go. Oh, my goodness. All right, anybody else we're missing here from these Rumble returns?
Dude, there's a. I mean, anybody from TNA. What if it's Moose? What, instead of like Hendry's doing the indie shit, so they bring in Moose, X Division champion.
Could be.
That'd be cool.
Werewolf Ed Edwards.
Josh Alexander could make his WWE contract. Well,
No, his contract's not up to the middle of next month.
Middle of February. Yeah.
I mean, he could still make an appearance. Yeah.
He could still make an appearance there. They've got that partnership going.
If the deal is that he's going to sign with WWE.
Dark Tank Clue just says digital media champion PCO. PCO, no.
Yeah. PCO,
Jeff Hardy?
what is he doing here?
Itchweed? That's the thing, dude. They have expanded their partnership, and there's so much talent, and people take care of themselves so much better. I'm sorry, but like, Chad Gable probably yes, but like, dude, there's a lot of people who aren't going to be in this thing.
I know. If they really want to pop people with surprises, yeah, they could bring in the Hardys. A lot of people from TNA, a lot of people from NXT. There's a lot of people they can bring in.
Plus, there's people like Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Randy Orton will probably come back at the Rumble. Do this. Yeah, there's a chance that this is going to be like half of the people are returns and surprises this year. Mm-hmm. And you don't even need like, legends who are barely walking to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, this is my favorite. This is my favorite suggestion because Damon here in our chat made this over at WrestleJuice. Says 50 people, 2 rings. So it's like War Games, but the Rumble, but no cage.
I love it.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
More Rumble, the better, as far as I'm concerned.
Right? Yeah, man. Yeah.
1,000%.
They need to think outside the box.
Yeah. Anyway. I mean, Triple H is a huge fan of like WCW.
Mm-hmm, yeah, he is.
Bring back the 3-ring battle.
Oh yeah, World War III, right?
Yeah, bring that back.
You're talking about the ones that were like, wait, you mean the one on top of each other?
No, the 3 rings, the World War III, the 3-ring battle royal.
They did the 3-ring thing, didn't they?
Yeah.
Boy.
Were there 60 competitors in those?
How much in ticket sales are you going to lose from that?
Oh, a significant amount. You have the shortest ramp you've ever seen in a wrestling show.
It's like a 6-foot ramp.
You walk through the curtain, you step into the ring.
Yeah, like 2 steps. Yeah, exactly. Your entrance is the ring.
But here's the thing: they'll do that and still have it be like the highest grossing gate for an arena show. Because guess what? Ticket prices double. Have you seen how much WrestleMania tickets are this year?
Somebody last night on my stream had said that, Jesus, like 10 rows back was something like 10 rows back on the floor or the field. Yeah. Was $2,500.
I saw a thing yesterday. I don't know if this is, retail or if this is secondary market. The very last row of the upper deck, $700.
Oh my God. Yeah, that field one seems cheap actually now that I think about it. How much? $700 for the super nosebleed?
Yeah.
Where can I get tickets? Let me check WrestleMania tickets. I'm going to look at this real quick.
Ticketmaster.
Tickets. Ticketmaster. Here we go. Is that shit sold out yet or no? Oh, I don't care about getting sidetracked.
They got that dynamic pricing, so if there's a rush for people to buy tickets, they'll jack the prices up, and when it slows down, they'll drop them. So.
Oh, here we go. Find tickets. Yeah, it's all AI based too. It's all like algorithmic. Let's see here. Lowest price.
What's the lowest price currently?
So nosebleed here says $170.
All right, that seems more likely. Again, I don't know if that I did. I just saw a picture of it. I don't know if it was secondary market or they're doing the spike pricing or what.
Oh, I got you. Best seats. Let's see what the best seat I can get. $4,000. Section floor. The floor E.
Oh, section E, I think.
Section E, row 3 for $4,000.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of. Oh, here it is. Okay. I mean, that's not a terrible seat though. Yeah. Because you get to be like right near you're kind of near the entranceway there, or you're like on the entranceway, closest to the ring. Yeah, man. That's a lot, dude.
It is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. And on top of that, you got to deal with all the headache of like travel and all that kind of stuff. No,
Mm-hmm.
no. Sit here. I got my whatever this is, 32-inch screen, hanging out with the friendos. That's how you do it.
Yep.
Anyways, we're going to talk about AEW Dynamite.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, goodness. Hey, that opening bit was pretty cool.
Yeah, the opening bit was good. It was.
We'll talk about that in a second. Anyways, but first we've got some sponsors for the day's show. Larson, so let's go ahead and talk about that.
Do it. Let's take a quick break here. Get a word from our sponsor, DraftKings Pick 6. We're in the midst of the NFL playoffs, Steve. And now that the divisional round is in the books and the conference finals are happening this weekend, time is running out to play DraftKings Pick 6. As the official daily fantasy sports partner of the NFL, DraftKings does fantasy sports like no one else.
And getting started with Pick 6 is easy. All you got to do is select 2 or more players and choose if they'll have more or less of a particular stat, like touchdowns, yardage, sacks, and more. And check this out. DraftKings is now making it even sweeter for first-time players. New Pick 6 customers play $5, get $50 in Pick 6 credits.
So win more cash on Pick 6. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app and use code RAW. That's code RAW for new customers to play $5, get $50 in Pick 6 credits only on DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours.
And here are some disclosures from Bill Pick 6.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 30 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
All right, and let's talk about our other sponsor for the show today, Larson.
All right. And let's get a word from our sponsor, Hims. Hey, guys, look. I know it's tough to deal with hair loss. It's getting pretty thin up here for me, too. But I'm here to tell you that just because you may have lost your hair, that doesn't mean you can't find it again. Hims makes treating hair loss simple with doctor-trusted options and clinically proven ingredients that can regrow hair in as little as 3 to 6 months.
And it's easy to get started. Everything is 100% online, which means no awkward or uncomfortable doctor's visits. All you got to do is answer a few questions, and a medical provider will determine if treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your treatment is sent directly to your door for free. You can even choose from personalized chewable, oral, spray, and serum treatments to find what works best for you.
So start your free online visit today at hims.com/goinginraw. That's HIMS.com/goinginraw for your personalized hair loss treatment options. HIMS.com/goinginraw.
Results vary based on studies of topical and oral minoxidil and finasteride. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. All right. So, let's take a big chunk out of this AEW Dynamite review, man. Time to serve up some helpings of the boom.
Well, there was no Costco guys on this show.
Boom!
All right, let's talk about the good first.
It's good.
So the opening segment with Kenny and Ospreay was good. The brawl, long but good. The double moonsaults, awesome.
Television needed to get that a little bit.
Yeah, the direction there kind of missed Kenny's moonsault, but they showed
Definitely
it later in
missed
replay.
Kenny's, yeah.
You kind of see his feet coming through frame, his Air Force Ones he was wearing on his way down.
Was that on the replay, or did they get a full replay of it?
They got a full replay. They actually
they
showed
did?
him.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. But on live, it was just
I
his
missed the
feet coming
replay.
through the foreground, I believe.
Yeah, wild spot. Super wild spot.
It was. It was crazy.
Was
It was crazy. It was wild brawl going up into the stands and stuff. The concourse back out. Whatever issues that Kenny and Will may have had before, seemingly put to the side because they got common enemies now in the Don Callis family.
Yeah.
Namely, Kyle Fletcher and Takeshita. That's the tag match happened at Grand Slams. Kenny and Will against Takeshita and Fletcher. And that'll be really, really good.
Yeah, and I like that Will Ospreay added a reason as to why he's not involved in the Death Rider stuff. He said, I've been trying, but every time I try, I run into the Don Callis family. I need help with this. And I like that he, the whole, it's a bad time to come back, lots of stuff is going on right now. He's referencing the wider story of AEW right now. I thought that was a very effective promo there for Will Ospreay, and a really long but a pretty effective brawl, punctuated by them doing those crazy spots and climbing back up the truss, and Kenny with his very unique promo style, saying what he said and then setting up that tag match. I thought it was an awesome open to Dynamite. It really set a high bar of energy and urgency that the rest of the show maybe, lived up to in certain moments, but other not.
But it was inconsistent.
My main
kind of
issue
the norm
with
Dynamite, yeah.
My main issue with Dynamite right now, and this is a week-to-week thing, is there is stuff that I like, but that stuff is not given a whole lot of time. There is stuff that is clearly well thought out and better than other stuff, which is more heavily featured. I'll give you a great example. Swerve versus AR Fox. Good match, short match. And the stuff we got with Ricochet, which I thought was maybe the best promo stuff we've ever gotten from Ricochet.
Yeah.
Holding the scissors up to Nana's throat and delivering lines into the camera with conviction. He came off as genuine, creepy, and I think he's really found this character. Mm-hmm. But it was a very short bit, and I think that he should have done more of that throughout the show.
Yep.
So there was that. Anything involving Harley Cameron, I'm on board with.
Oh, she's great. She's so good.
She is probably one of the top 3 personalities on the show in all of AEW. Her sense of comedic timing, her line reading is, oh my God.
Yeah, it's top tier, man.
It's like tier. That shit should be in a movie or a proper TV show. You know what I mean?
She should be on Saturday Night Live.
Right, or WWE Raw. Something huge like that.
I thought the Hangman Christopher Daniels stuff was pretty good too, because it's the first time we saw Hangman express any measure of guilt about this new violent iteration of his.
Yeah, might have gone to a different.
Yeah,
might have gone too far. Yeah,
yeah, because they've referenced his relationship with Christopher Daniels going back years, and to be the one that's forcing Daniels into retirement because he injured him so bad during that Texas death match.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And having to kind of sit with that, and him not being able to do that at least while on camera and shoving the cameraman away so he can walk backstage. I thought that was good. I know people complain about Daniels and Jeff Jarrett taking up TV time. I thought in the case of Daniels, it was pretty effective. He's had a long career. Apparently, he didn't want to make a huge deal about retiring.
Yeah.
He had the one match with Hangman on Collision. That was pretty solid. The Texas Death Match opened up Collision last week. He has a short bit, and it plays into Hangman's character arc, which is quite a bit different than the amount of time they're dedicating to Jeff Jarrett's story. And look, we might be Jeff Jarrett's number one defenders.
Who would have thought back in
world.
2025 we'd do another turnaround on Jeff Jarrett?
This is too much. It's too much.
It is too much. I think.
Why
honestly,
is MJF even feuding with Jeff Jarrett?
Can I be honest? I'm almost positive, dude, that back in '99 when he went back to WCW, that was my main complaint about him. Wasn't necessarily. I mean, I didn't really like him in WWF, but then when he showed up in WCW, I'm like, all right. I remember there being flashes of okay, I can maybe get used to it, but man, Russo just went all in on Jeff Jarrett, which is nuts.
Yeah.
But then,
I mean, I feel like the Jeff Jarrett thing should have been like a 4-week story.
Yeah.
He declares, "Hey, I want title shot." Mox, get out here. Claudio comes out. Says, "Well, you have to get through me first." I don't know how it happens. Jeff Jarrett gets a roll-up win over Claudio.
Yeah.
To get his Mox title match. Mox just wrecks him.
Yeah.
Wrecks him. And it's all serving to get heel heat, some much-needed heel heat at this juncture for Mox, because this Death Rider story gets no reaction now. Nothing.
Yeah.
And by the end of Dynamite, I felt like my life force had been sapped from me.
Oh, wow, yeah.
because, listen, I love Pac. I think he's a fantastic wrestler, a great character. That match with Cope, not exactly my cup of tea. Thought it was a little slow.
Yeah.
A little plotting.
Yeah.
I understand they're trying to tell a story there. Come on, Cope, pick up the pace a little bit.
Cope's not that guy. Yeah, you're not gonna get a quick snappy, oh my gosh, look at his crispness. Look at how you're not gonna get that from Cope.
And then they cut backstage, and you got FTR tied up in chairs in the most cartoonish fashion imaginable. And listen, I know the Rock and Roll Express are legends in the world of pro wrestling. I understand they still wrestle from time to time, I believe.
Yeah.
Why are they such important parts of this story? They're not even in AEW. And how am I supposed to be like, oh, those Death Riders, they're super sinister when they got FTR tied up to chairs like they're Snidely Whiplash? Like, it's just so cartoony.
They're more part of AEW than a lot of acts.
It's just, I can't get into it.
Yeah.
It's lame. This Death Rider stuff is so lame.
It is. It really is. And I feel like the broader AEW audience is really figuring that out because, like, you're right. It has not gone over well. Like, nobody's really caring about this stuff, dude. Nobody's really caring about this stuff. And it's like, it's so all over the map. And obviously, like, the problem is you're trying to tell a saga, booking it week to week, and it doesn't work that way.
No,
you have to plan this shit out.
You need a destination. I guess they have their destination. Darby beating Mox at All In, but you got to have story beats along the way that are mapped out.
You got to build to that. At this point, it's going to be when Darby wins, it'll get a pop because it'll mean the Death Riders bullshit's over with.
I know. People. It's relief. It's the relief pop.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness this has come to an end because this is dreadful. But we should talk about this before we go to the segment by segment breakdown because it's in the thumbnail. Hurt Syndicate decisively defeated Private Party for the tag titles.
They put a whooping on those dudes. So brutal, but so wildly entertaining. The crowd wanted to see the Hurt Syndicate wreck Private Party even more. And they're supposed to be the good guys.
Private Party is, yeah.
Yeah, Private Party. Dude, you know what? And look, this goes to show that when you try to apply reason and logic to a situation with AEW, you end up looking like an asshole. Because I was like, dude, they're not going to have Private Party still relatively fresh off winning these tag titles. It wasn't that long ago.
A couple months, something like that.
Months,
2-3 months, maybe.
Barely any defenses. I think they had like a defense recently on Collision.
Yeah.
And you got Bobby and Shelton coming in, and it's like, okay, yeah, like they're obviously legit. They're getting paid way more money than Private Party are. It's Bobby Lashley. Get out of here. Of course, like if they want something, they're going to get it. Bro, they did this match at like 5:20 Pacific, like 30 minutes deep into the show. No big match feel, no big, like this is not a feud that's been going on for a month.
It was set up 2 weeks ago, man.
Set up 2 weeks ago. Last week they had the 6-man, which they won that too. The Hurt Syndicate did.
Yeah.
They just stroll on in there. After Private Party, oh, the big Death Riders show up. You're not good enough. No, we are good enough. Amazing Red said so. And they take it off the Young Bucks, like the guys who have all the power in the company, allegedly. And then they do nothing with them, which should have been my first clue.
Yeah.
And then Bobby, fresh off of half a feud with Swerve,
yeah,
just forgets about all that stuff. And they leave Swerve Island, and then they just sort of stroll into, middle of the first hour of Dynamite. Not even a pay-per-view, Dynamite. Not even, can't even save it for like a week till Grand Slam happens. or 2 weeks, whatever it is.
Oh, 3 weeks.
3 weeks. It's middle of February, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they just absolutely kill these guys. This ain't a story, by the way. This is not Private Party. Oh, we got to regroup. No, they look like, like children getting thrown around by grown-ass muscular men. They look stupid out there. And the crowd just kept on chanting, we want more. Like, do it again. Beat that guy even worse than you've already beat him. They're done. Private Party's done. Their stock is arguably lower than it was a year ago when they were absolutely nowhere in AEW. No credibility. They literally just put the titles on them, I think, to kill their credibility whatsoever.
Well, I think they put the titles on, Tony Khan put the titles on Private Party to have a moment without telling a story following that moment. And we've seen a similar thing, but not to the same degree, I feel like, though I don't watch Collision on a regular basis. There could be more going on here. So grain of salt in this statement here. They've kind of done the same thing with Daniel Garcia, it seems like.
Who?
Put the title on him. And then he's teaming up with 2.0, I think on Collision. This is the TNT title is supposed to be like the top mid-card title. That's how it was originally positioned, at least.
Yeah.
And like, he's not defending the title. He's not involved in. It seemed like he was going to feud with Shelton Benjamin. Mm-hmm, that's a good feud for both of them.
Really good feud, yeah.
Dropped.
Yeah.
And now Daniel Garcia is teaming up with a couple dudes he was teaming up a year ago or 2 years ago, whatever it was. It just feels like so much of AEW is, all right, step forward, all right, 2, 3, 5 steps back.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And it's a frustrating watch at this point. Look, I want to be able to sit here and enjoy my wrestling programming, regardless of the company. I want AEW to do well because it's good for the wrestling business when you have multiple thriving wrestling promotions. But it's at this point, especially with the Death Rider stuff, it is hard.
Yeah.
Hard to be captivated by 2 hours of Dynamite recently.
Yeah.
There's good stuff, but as you mentioned earlier, the good stuff occupies such a small portion of the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so much of it, this Death Rider stuff, this Jarrett MJF feud, Cope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It just kind of drags what is good there down.
Yeah. You could even sort of swap out, like, you could spread some of the good stuff around. Like, here's the problem, because I was like, this morning I was thinking, I'm like, just flip Cope and Swerve. If Swerve was in the Death Rider stuff, it'd be way better.
Oh, absolutely.
Because Swerve would be in it and he'd have a hand in it.
Yeah.
If Cope was in the Ricochet stuff, I don't know if the same thing could be said. I think if Swerve was writing it, though, because I think that's what makes it good. I think Swerve understands how to book wrestling. I think the guy just understands the creative aspect of it. But if it was just like, Cope and Ricochet left to there, and he had like scissors up to FTR Bald's head.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. It's like Ricochet, you made the mistake of putting scissors up to Dax Harwood's neck. And that's why we're feuding.
Yeah.
You can put scissors to my neck. Whatever. Don't you dare do it to Dax Harwood.
And then Dax is like, I love Cope. There's 3 things I love in life. Family.
Get out of your system.
Cope.
Get it out of your system. It makes for a frustrating watch because...
it's funny because Mark here in YouTube chat says AEW's really been lacking in the interpersonal dynamics. Nobody in the Death Riders have relationships with one another, interesting character moments. And that's if you go back to the Bloodline stuff, which clearly they're trying to emulate some aspect of that. Yeah. All those great backstage segments, which just enhanced everything so well. Everybody's sort of on pins and needles around Roman. Mm-hmm. And in this situation, they're just Claudio comes off like a henchman. Pat comes off like a henchman. Marina comes off like a henchman. And instead of like everybody with their individual personalities, with the same goal, but maybe different ways to accomplish that goal. And therein lies the conflict within the group, which makes it interesting. And they don't do that.
I mean, early on, it seemed like that Wheeler had turned on Danielson, but he was torn about it. That lasted all of a week or two, dropped completely.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah.
And that could have been an interesting dynamic where Wheeler's like, gosh, I don't really want to do this. My mentor, Bryan Danielson, is forced into retirement pretty much.
Yeah.
Do I want to be cast adrift alone in AEW, or am I going to swim with the Sharks because at least I know what I can expect here?
Yeah. Yeah, right.
That is a more interesting dynamic. We don't really know the dynamics of anybody within Death Riders apart of Mox is on top.
And the AEW diehards would say, oh, you just wanted to be more like WWE. No, I just wanted to be compelling. I wanted to be interesting.
Because it's not. It's boring.
Yeah.
It's lame. It's slow. Every week, Mox comes out and spews out some word salad that doesn't build up the story at all. And then I get it on the marquee, Mox versus Cope sounds good. But in terms of Mox's mission statement, like Cope's won 32 championships at WWE, you know?
Yeah.
He's all about grit, determination, overcoming obstacles,
Mox versus
not resting
Cope.
on his laurels. And then, so now they have to pivot, and it's just not good television. It's not good television.
Mox versus Cope is one of those things where it's like, oh man, we do a video back in like 2015. Oh, what are some Edge Dream matches that we lost out on? You know? Oh, we could have Dean Ambrose versus Edge.
There's times in WWE where Dean Ambrose is a more dynamic, interesting character than whatever Mox is doing now.
Yeah, it was like for most of the run, to be honest with you. Because Mox has not changed at all.
No.
Another guy who hasn't really changed, MJF. And you could see it in his eyes. This guy was given like new marching orders and has no interest in doing any of this. So I guess we're going to get him versus Hangman? Is that the deal?
I don't know. We're probably going to get him versus Jeff Jarrett first.
Yeah.
And I don't know if MJF is going to cost Jeff Jarrett his match against Claudio or what's going to happen. But it feels like we're going to get Jeff Jarrett versus MJF. And again, Steve and I might be the top two Jeff Jarrett defenders of the year 2024. I don't know if we can defend Jeff Jarrett being this involved in weekly TV in 2025.
He really is best suited as Texas Chainsaw Deathmatch guy.
Or, like I said, this should have been a month-long story.
Yeah.
He gets his title opportunity, just gets annihilated by Mox. Everybody moves on. They try to get a bunch of... Like, last night, Dynamite was in Knoxville, Tennessee. That's Jeff Jarrett turf.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have Jeff Jarrett get his title match in front of the home crowd. You know, the fans behind him. And then just get wrecked by Mox.
Is Jarrett going to beat Claudio next week? Because isn't that happening next week?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
How's he going to beat Claudio? That doesn't make any sense.
Opportunistic thing. Or I mean, it could be, maybe it's a situation where MJF comes out there, is like, I'm going to cost Jeff Jarrett this match, accidentally helps him.
Oh, okay. Hits Claudio with the diamond ring.
And then
perhaps.
MJF be like, hey, now that I helped you win, if you get the title, now you're going to owe me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there you go. Could be. So, yeah, I guess we can sort of dive into it now that we've talked about everything. So, first up on the notes here, got new tag champions. Mentioned this, Hurt Syndicate. And, yeah, this honestly, like, did Hurt Syndicate get anything in here?
They didn't get a whole lot.
I think they, like, one of them kicked out of something.
Yeah, I mean, like towards the after Isaiah Cassidy got put through the announce table with the spine buster, and Quinn was getting isolated for a while, and Isaiah came back to the match. Then there was some decent back and forth, but in the end, it was just like German suplexes from Shelton.
Yeah.
Spine buster from Bobby. Ultimately, Lashley hits a spear on Isaiah Cassidy to get the win.
Yeah. So new tag champions. Do you think this is going to continue? Like they're going to have one more match, like a rematch, or are they just going to Hurt Syndicate's going to move on?
No, this seemed pretty decisive.
Who's Hurt Syndicate going to move on to next?
I don't know, man. The AEW tag division is such disarray right now.
So we have no more Acclaimed. They broke up.
No, they broke up on Collision.
Did you watch that segment, by the way? You know, man, I guess for whatever reason, and I'm still not entirely sure as to what the reason was. If those dudes just want to go solo, then cool. But when Caster Caster told Bowens, You need to choose either me or Billy Gunn.
Mm-hmm.
And Bowens, being the good guy, chooses Billy Gunn. Caster goes crazy with it. I don't know, man. A heel acclaimed run. Bowen says, "Yeah, I'm gonna choose. I choose Billy Gunn, but to turn on him and he like kicks him in the balls or something. They just beat the shit out of Billy Gunn. I kind of like that for the acclaimed, but they didn't do that.
No.
Instead, they're just gonna have Bowens go solo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Yep. We can talk about the opening segment in more detail. So it starts off with Will Ospreay. Apparently, the airline lost his luggage.
He was wearing sweats, but that's like it's funny because there was nothing that stood out about it when I saw it. I was like, yeah, it's kind of AEW's thing.
I mean, it's not a rarity for him to walk out with sweatpants on either.
I think he debuted in sweats.
Yeah, he did.
I know Okada did, but that's because he he was like a late addition.
Yeah.
They were like, this is so late. This is so recent. You have
he's
to
literally arriving from the airport to go out to the ring for a segment.
It's like the 3 Rumble setup there. Just, airport right next to the arena.
Yeah. So Kenny's next. So Shivani says, Will, you asked for this time. The floor is yours. And Will says, hey, Kenny, thanks for giving me your time. I'm happy you're not dead. Can't remember the last time we were in the ring and not throwing punches at each other. A lot has changed since you've been out. I've had nothing to do with the Callis family and trying to change this place. Now is not a good time for you to come back.
Can't you see, bruv? There's nobody watching, bruv. They had 2,500 people last night. That's better than 1,500 people.
It is. And 2,500 people in a full building looks a heck of a lot better than 1,500 people in an empty building.
Yeah, I suppose. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't.
I know.
It really is.
It kind of is. So Ospreay continues. Mox is holding the world title hostage, but trying to fight that battle, but the Callis family keeps getting in the way. I can't do it on my own anymore. I know we've had our differences. And Kenny takes the mic and tells him to stop. And he says, last time we were in the ring together, you dropped me on my head, stabbed me with a screwdriver. So in my mind, it makes you no better than Don Callis. And you were doing it to try to prove that you were better than me. I don't believe you were better than me then. I don't believe you're better than me now. It took diverticulitis for people to realize you even existed. So now I'm back. You can go back to being number 2 while I'm number 1. So if you're here to apologize and ask for my help, the answer is no chance in hell, because I'll never trust someone like you, bruv.
And then
brown note.
The Callis entrance is hilarious. It's just his face and the brown note. So Don walks out. Kenny rushes towards him, laid out by Takeshita and Fletcher. Will's like, oh, bruv, what do I do here? He hesitates, but then joins in. And then it's just like a huge freaking brawl that breaks out. And it's punctuated by Ospreay climbing up to like the first deck there and then doing a crazy moonsault. Kenny does the same off a truss. Camera doesn't catch it. But it was a really great moment. The crowd was super into it. And then they both climb up the truss, and Kenny gets on a mic, says, we're going to put you 6 feet down under. And speaking of down under, you want an apology? I apologize. I should have trusted you from the beginning. Let's restore the feeling at Grand Slam. It's going to be me and Will against Fletcher and Takeshita. He always talks like an anime villain. It's great.
Yeah. The main event was Pac versus Cope. Before that match, though, early in the show, we get a Pac video package. Then we get a Mox promo. Oh, my gosh. He says, we're going to bring Pac to the main event. Cope, you went to sleep in 2011, woke up in 2025 in a world that doesn't belong, where you don't belong, where the animals are stronger and meaner than ever. Be glad to toss your carcass on the pile, Adam. Says Cope, your neck is hanging on by a thread just like Danielson's. I'll finish the job. What I'm saying, Cope, maybe the next doctor's visit you have is the worst case scenario, and I won't lose any sleep over it. I don't even really sleep a whole lot anyways. I don't have time for relics from the past. We're looking to the future.
How many hours a night do you think Cope Mox gets?
He says he doesn't sleep much. I'm going to say 7 hours.
Wow, that's not much to you?
No. I said I know Mox says he doesn't get much.
He's kayfabing it.
Yeah.
In kayfabe, what does he get?
Oh, just whatever naps he can get on the plane.
Yeah. So anyways, we had that match in the main event. Larson's not his favorite Dynamite main event.
It was, I get it. Pac was working Cope's neck and his surgically repaired leg. It was this kind of slow and plodding. And Cope hits the spear, and then another one, then a spinning TKO for the win, and that was it. And then the afterwards, it was trash.
Yeah, so you have I got this loaded up on my screen over here because I was cracking up at your description of it.
You got Cash in the background, tied up to a chair with like tape around his mouth, and then Dax is in another chair, but that chair's fallen over. And then you have Robert Gibson.
And he's got they're both duct tape, like they got the duct tape around, and their legs are duct taped to the chair legs too.
Legs of the chairs. And then Robert Gibson is like just laying on the floor, laid out, and then Ricky Morton is there and getting concertoed. It's so cheesy. It's so cheesy.
Cope just looks confused. He's like, "Is that the Rock and Roll Express?"
It's just not good. So the Death Riders end up coming to the ring, surround Cope. They beat him up. Jay White tries to make the save, but numbers are in the advantage.
It's funny
of Death
because
Riders.
Cope is watching from the ring. Because I'm watching this again. Cope is watching from the ring, and he doesn't like make an effort to go back there and like get them out of their chair predicament.
No, he just does his angry face.
He's doing confused face, like, "Where did I park?"
Yeah. Where's my car? So anyways, Yuta hits Jay White with a low blow while Jay is trying to hit Mox with the Blade Runner. And then Mox puts the Bulldog choke on Cope while Yuta and Claudio pin down Jay White. So he has to just watch it happen.
Yeah. So wait, what do you think of what's the Grand Slam match going to be?
Oh, it's going to be, Grand Slam? I don't know. Maybe they'll do Mox and Cope at Grand Slam. I don't know.
Well, I was thinking, like, if you have Cope and Jay White there, you can do it.
I'll put a tag match then. Yeah, tag match would be Jay and Cope against.
So you got Kenny and Will in a tag.
Yeah,
and then you get is
event,
Grand Slam Australia just like Road to Revolution?
Well, yeah, I think they may have had like huge plans in mind for what the show is going to be, and then it didn't sell well, and it's not going to be airing live anywhere. And
Tony's going to main event.
Yeah, Tony Mario main event.
Yeah.
So,
It's changed a lot. You're right.
It has. So we mentioned Harley Cameron earlier. She's great. So Mercedes has a promo backstage. Says, Knoxville, say hello to your CEO. Four Belts Monet is here. Renee steps in, asks her what else she has planned for 2025. And Mercedes says, I'm a global champ now, so I can't wait to see who's going to jump on the money train. So Harley steps in with the guitar, starts singing a song about wanting to challenge Mercedes for the TBS title at Grand Slam. And it's hilarious.
It is great.
And so Mercedes listens and says, I've wrestled all around the world against the best. You haven't even won a match on AEW TV yet, so that's going to be a hard no. She walks away, and Renee says to Harley, well, it was a good song.
And that was actually preceded by, they had a Tony Storm interview, so she's very excited for her title match, and then Harley interrupts, and they start doing like some silly Aussie slang, which was a hilarious bit.
Yeah.
And then Tony's like, hey, you know what? You should have a match. You're pretty great. And then she's like, oh, yeah, I should. And then after that is when she does the Monet thing. But it was a really good 2 segments there for Harley Cameron. She's awesome.
It was. She's great. You mentioned earlier that Swerve had a match against AR Fox. Ricochet's backstage. He arrives backstage, picture in picture. Eventually shows up ringside, takes a swing at Swerve with the scissors. Swerve evades that. And then Nana has a pipe, chases Ricochet backstage with the steel pipe. So then Fox hits that seated Spanish fly off the top. That's such a cool move.
It is, yeah.
Gets it to Fox, looking for a 450, misses. Swerve is looking for the JML driver. Fox reverses that to a roll-up, gets it 2. Swerve hits leaping flatliner, house call stomp for the win. Swerve extends his hand to Fox. Fox shakes it, and then Ricochet shows up with the Tron. Says there are risks when you think that it's okay to bully people, like last week when everybody bullied me and took my time away. Well, next week you're all going to listen to me. Isn't that right, Nana? So the camera pans out, and you see Ricochet's got the scissors to Nana's throat. He says, I gut you like a fish right now, but I need you. And tell Swerve that it may be his house, but there's a new landlord in town. Ha ha!
And then later on, we had a Swerve promo backstage. He says, you think you're big and bad? Well, you're going to need to deal with the most dangerous man in AEW. 2 weeks from now in Atlanta, the chase is done. The Lion gets his hand on that freaking rodent. maybe I catch you a little sooner than that. So it continues.
It does. Had a good match between Jamie Hayter and Julia Hart.
Yeah, this was good stuff.
Yeah, this was really good. Jamie gets the win here.
I love that she did a out of breath promo afterwards. She did what do we used to call these things? Winded promo.
Winded promo, yeah.
It's a winded promo. She says, I'm not somebody to come out and butter somebody else's bread, but I got heavy respect for women like you, Julia. You do what you want to do, whether it's spitting that crap in my face or trying to kill me with, oh my God, I'm so tired. An arrow. Whether you're standing beside two huge men or by yourself, you're tough. You've won one, I've won one. If you want another one, you got it.
Yeah.
And then later on, we get a video package with formerly known as House of Black. And this time it's just Brody, Buddy, Julia, and Malachi the dog now. Walking around in the broad daylight for once. Yeah. No more shadows.
Nope.
And they're like, Julia's like, the voice that guided us is gone. It's all like, not too subtle hints that Malachi's gone and is going to be in the Rumble.
Yeah.
And they're like, now it's time to go forward. No leaders, just violence. So it's like, it's a new Judgment Day. No leaders.
No leaders.
And they say, when we bark together.
But then there was no barking in unison after that.
Yeah, I wanted them all, along with Malachi the dog, to start going. Ruh, 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 ruh.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Now we got to come to the Jeff Jarrett portion of the show. So,
dude,
I'm not going to do verbatim here. So he's backstage for an interview, but Karen interrupts and says, I saw what happened with you and MJF last week. That's not who you are. You know how upset that made me. And Jeff's like, I got it. Don't worry about it. He comes to the ring.
I know. She's like, hey, that promo last week sucked. Don't do that again.
So then Jeff tells a story of his early days in wrestling when he was in a tag match and he was getting beat up and the dudes that were beating him up were talking a bunch of trash. So he started talking trash too. Afterwards, Jerry Lawler comes to the locker room and tells him, you don't ever get in the gutter with your opponent. Referencing the segment last week with MJF. And so he just said, we're going to settle this, Max, at some point, but I want to get back on my path to getting the AEW title. So Mox, come out here, so let's talk. Instead, Claudio comes out, beats up Jarrett, and says, no one gets to Mox without getting through me first. And then he says, stay out of her business. So Claudio turns to leave, and then Jarrett tells him, turn around. You know me better than this. You're going to have to kill me to stop me. Mox is my target. How about this? If I beat your ass next week, I get a title shot. Claudio accepts.
Yeah, man. They should do the thing where Claudio beats him up so bad that he gets DQ'd. He ignores the ref's call.
You just want Jeff Jarrett to completely just back into a title opportunity.
At this point, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. He gets in there, Karen distracts the ref. Jeff takes a guitar, he strokes himself with it, and then he throws it at Claudio.
You want to do that? Yeah.
It's the Eddie Guerrero thing, but he does it with the stupid guitar.
That'd be funny.
So MJF then responds to Double J half-heartedly. Long-winded, but man, he did not give one single shit about this promo. He says, I know you think that if you grind hard enough, you're going to earn yourself more time in the only occupation you know and love. But the truth is, pro wrestling doesn't love you anymore. These fans don't even love you. They can chant all they want. It doesn't change the fact that you're about to find out the hard way that sometimes you're better off making a deal with the devil instead of defying him.
Oh, so MJF came out while there was already a competitor in the ring.
Local competitor.
Yeah, they were waiting for a match. So a Hangman comes to the ring.
We find out that a Hangman is the match, and
yeah,
Hangman gets in there, gets in MJF's face, says "scram," so he does. And then Hangman just absolutely completely destroys this poor guy.
Yep.
And then he beats him with the
it's a standard lariat, the clothesline.
Yeah, it's not even a buckshot. So after the match, he hits him with Angel's wings. Christopher Daniels comes out wearing really baggy pants and a giant cartoonish neck brace.
Yeah.
And Hangman walks up to him. Daniels like, I never wanted to fight you. I just wanted to be your friend. He says, but I see I messed it up. I let my ego get to me, and I accepted the most violent match with the most violent man. Because of that match, that last buckshot added to all the damage on my neck over the years. My doctors advised me Wrestle again? No way. He says, so I'm here to tell you that you win. You've won the last match I'll ever wrestle, so this is goodbye. I'm sorry, and I hope you can be happy now. And then he walks off, and Paige is taken aback by it. He starts mulling on it. He tells the cameraman, get out of my face. Because he's going to express his vulnerability now.
Yeah. Then we had a New York Minute with Jericho and the Learning Tree, talking about the loss in that 12-man tag match on Collision. Bill sees it as a potential learning opportunity. Jericho's upset about the loss, blames Hobbs for his team losing, and then really leans into Bill to challenge Hobbs to a match on Collision. Challenge is issued. Later on, Hobbs responds, says, I hear Bill is looking for me at Collision. Jacksonville is where I got my start, and I won't be hard to find. Meet me in the parking lot.
Oh, that's cool. I'm going to have a parking lot brawl.
Yep.
Yeah, right on.
And then we also had a Megan Bain video package.
Yeah. Presentation, 10 out of 10. Right?
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
That entrance gear is amazing.
Really good stuff. We also had ourselves an NXT, which featured a title match.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Thorpe versus Oba Femi. They gave this about 7 minutes.
It was pretty short. Dominant effort for Oba.
Yeah. Got the win there with the pop-up powerbomb. And then you had Waller and Theory, who are going to have a Waller effect. The two more guys who are not going to be in the Rumble, by the way. You're going to have a Waller effect with Oba. But they're all talking shit. And then Trick gets in the ring. Eddie gets to his feet. And Trick, I like this because they sort of illustrate how little of a threat Eddie Thorpe ever was. Because Trick just hits him with a trick shot. And then, like, just really quick, and then goes right back to Oba. Looks him in the eyes.
Yeah.
Oba's like, interesting.
Bailey was back on NXT.
So wait a second. Go back to Oba really quick.
Sorry.
Is this going to be just a straight up win for Oba Femi? Like
I would think so.
the rematch to show that he's the guy?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Trick's getting called up, I feel like.
Oh yeah, I definitely think that's the case. It'll be interesting to see how they do this. I mean, it's a tried and true thing in NXT. Somebody gets, they finally get the clean loss before they go and do the thing. And I just, I sort of expect the same thing, I guess.
Yeah. They're taking a different approach, seemingly, to Roxanne Perez's call-up, where they're having Bailey come to NXT. We're having this tag match next week. Bailey and Julia taking on Roxanne and Cora Jade. And I imagine it's going to be, we've already kind of seen it with Roxanne on SmackDown and Raw the last 2 episodes. It's just going to be a crossover where this story just kind of builds and builds. And I would not be shocked if it's Bailey and Roxanne at Mania.
You think that's going to be the thing?
I wouldn't be surprised. Roxanne's going to be in the Rumble.
Mm-hmm. That's a big deal for Roxanne. That's a big deal.
So Bailey comes out, talks about Roxanne a bunch, and says just because Roxanne showed up on Raw and SmackDown doesn't prove you're ready for the main roster. Everyone in the division NXT is hungry for their moment, and with the champion like Julia, the sky's the limit. So Julia interrupts and says, coming from Japan, I wanted to be in NXT. Roxanne may not look up to you, Bailey, but I do, and I hope to hold this title with as much love for NXT as you had. And Bailey says, thanks, huge fan. I know you're going to make some historic moments. That title changes your career. Roxanne interrupts with Cora. A bunch of crap talk happens, and Roxanne says, I know, Bailey, why you're here. You want the title to be the number one woman in the number one division because, we've exceeded the 4 horsewoman era. So go ahead and tell Julia that's why you're really here. A brawl breaks out. And then Bailey and Julia clear the ring. We cut backstage. Jada Parker's watching. She's happy that Bailey mentioned her name because Bailey mentioned a bunch of the standouts women's division. Kalani says, well, she mentioned my name too. They start arguing. Carmen Petrovic stops them, says, love is in the air. Says, Kalani, I love you. Jada says, why are you in my business? Just you got a kiss from Ashante. And Carmen says, don't talk about my man. They start shoving.
Oh, no. You missed. No. She said, don't talk about my man. And what was Jada's response? She said, your man? That's Nikita's man.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That was rough, man. That was rough.
They start shoving. Cameras cut back to ringside. Brawl's still going on as NXT rolls on. We get the picture-in-picture bit with the brawl happening, and then we get an entrance. And
So, man, yeah, let's rewind here, because that was like, yeah, one segment leads into another.
yeah,
Number one, shout out to NXT and Julia for going out there and cutting an English language promo when obviously it's not like her strongest, suit. And the crowd wanting to know what she's saying instead of doing that asinine thing, whatting somebody when they're cutting something and not something that's not their first language. And Julia having the confidence to go out there and, give it her best go. I thought that was awesome. And I love to see that NXT is not afraid to be like, hey, you know what? Get across what you can get across. The crowd's going to get it. And she went out there. I thought that was awesome. I thought that was really, really awesome. And yeah, I like all this stuff. I think it's really good. And I think incorporating the women's locker room, watching the main eventers do what they're doing and how it affects them from an ego standpoint and a character standpoint, I think that's just really strong storytelling right there.
Yeah. And it builds up the entire division too. It feels like it really highlights the depth in the women's division. The depth that's lacking quite a bit from the men's main event scene.
Mm-hmm, sure, yeah.
So later on, we got Wes Lee. He walks into the locker room with Tyson and Tyreek. So he steps up to Dion Lennox and was talking trash about Dion saying that he was going to beat Oba for the title. And Dion says, well, somebody's got to beat Oba someday. And it's not you. And says, well, we have a match tonight. So the Trick comes in the locker room. Wes talks shit to him. And Trick just slaps the shit out of him.
Without hesitation. Yep. He just walks, and Trick has big hands. His hands are like the size of Wesley's face, dude. This guy wiped that face right off his head. It was hilarious. Yeah. He did not hold back. This was not like a worked slap, man. He slapped the shit out of Wesley. So shout out to Wesley for taking that and then putting as much into this as they could. I thought that was great.
That was great. So later on, we have Dion taking on Wes Lee. Wes wins with cardiac kick, gets the mic, says, I'm going to take care of Trick next week in Atlanta. Trick comes out, fights past Tyreek and Tyson, sends Wes out of the ring, accept Wes' challenge, and then as he's walking up the ramp, bumps past Dion Lennox, and Dion is not happy about it. More on that in a little bit.
Yeah. The show opened up with Tony D defending his North American title against Ridge Holland. During the match, Shawn Spears wandered out for some reason. And then, let's see here. Izzy Dame. So, let's see here. Spears gets on the apron. Tony punches him off. Brooks and Nico come to ringside and brawl with the rest of the family. Izzy Dame gets in the ring, boots Ridge. Tony follows with a spine buster for the win. And then later on, Brooks and Nico take on Stax and Luca, the lawyer, in tag team action. And then Nico drives Luca into the ring steps. He tags in, hits Stax with a clothesline to get the win for the Spears group.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, Dion's pissed backstage. Says, fuck this place. Camera pans over to Tony D and Izzy talking. He's like, I got places to be. She leaves. Tony walks up to the family. They say they're waiting for him to come out. He's like, he tried, but Izzy keeps talking. Says Stax had been underboss for 2 years. He could figure it out on his own. So all sorts of shit going on there.
Yeah. Steve, is it possible that Lexis King might be one of the most compelling characters in all of pro wrestling right now?
All of pro wrestling, no. NXT, absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
I like that he's in a situation now because, the story for months has been, I want to get out of the shadow of my father, prove that I am not a loose cannon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a good dude.
Yeah.
And there's this constant push and pull within him to be a good dude, but also to cheat.
Well, yeah. Why did he have a pair of brass knucks in his bucket?
That was the urge to cheat was there, man. Because another thing he said is, my dad never won a singles title in WWE. Now that he has it, in his mind to a degree, it seems like, now I'm out of the shadow of my father because I've won gold here in WWE. But now it's like, but now I got to hold on to it. That's the hard part.
The only way he can do that is by targeting the dick and balls. Because this is the third time now where, Wait, how did he get it the first time? Was there dick and balls involved in the first
Yeah,
time?
because the accidental headbutt to the dick and balls.
No, that was the second time. First time he
Oh, the
won.
first time was
Regal.
Regal.
Regal punching a guy, but it wasn't in the dick and balls. So this is two
No.
times in a row where poor Charlie Dempsey's D and B's
Has met some part of Lexus King. First head, forehead, second time leg.
So he goes down. So Lexus ends up getting the first fall in round 2, leads 1-0. Then Dempsey gets a pin to even up the score in round 3. And then Lexus crawls to his corner and he sees the brass knuckles in the bucket. He puts them on. He puts them back in the bucket. In round 4, Dempsey hits King with a high-angle German suplex. King crawls towards his bucket, but Dempsey intercepts him, looks for a chicken wing. King sort of flings him out of the ring, hits Dempsey. Heisenborn with a tope, puts Dempsey back in the ring. Dempsey rolls him up, but only gets 2. Another roll up, 2 count. And then Dempsey sort of pushes King into the corner, and he blocks the ref's views because the ref is trying not to get a ref bumped. So he turns around. Yeah. And so that allows Lexus to hit the backwards low blow with his leg. And then he hits the coronation to get the win. So I don't know how many more times they can do this. I would feel like they could probably look at the footage and be like, all right, listen, got to do this one more time. But I don't think they're going to do that. I think Dempsey's probably got to be done with him, right?
No, they got to do it one more time.
Again?
Yeah, it's twice that Dempsey's lost.
4 times.
It's twice in a row now he's lost because he's gotten hit in the front area.
Well, the first time was an accident.
Or was it?
Well, he could
there's plausible deniability, but in light of recent events, you can look back at that and be like, he could have ducked his head more.
Oh, no, absolutely he could. Yeah. But there is total plausible deniability there.
Exactly.
This one, there's none.
No. Yeah.
But, it's just like, dude, you know what? That's it. How many times is this going to be this vortex of
what
Lexus
has to happen
Dempsey?
is Dempsey says, I want a rematch, wear a cup.
He should have been doing that, already.
First time was an accident,
Everybody
Steve.
should do that. I'd be like, I got to be in there with the loose cannon, with El Hijo de Loose Cannon.
Cup.
Cup.
We had Bianca and Naomi drop a promo talking about defending the tag titles against Lash and Jakara. Bianca says Lash and Jakara have been putting in the work to become number 1 contenders. Naomi says Lash brings the size and power. Jakara brings the athleticism, but nobody does that better than we do. And Bianca says they better bring that and more if they want to take the titles off them. Later on, Lash and Jakara in the locker room talking about what Bianca and Naomi had to say when Sol Ruka and Zarya step up. And Sol says, you guys have a chance to become tag champs, but also bring those titles back to NXT. And Lash says, you're right. It's the biggest match of our careers. You get to compete. Nice. She says, I get to compete in front of my family in Atlanta. And then Jakara says, her and Lash are going to bring the action. And when we do, we're going to bring those titles to NXT, and everyone's going to get title shots.
I like this, too, because it's like people just being supportive of people. Mm-hmm. They gotta pull the trigger on that whole Jade Cargill who did the thing.
I know.
It'd be awesome if Lash and Jakara actually did win those titles.
Yeah.
I don't see it happening, but that'd be great.
It would be great. We had Ethan Page drop one of those progressive. It's not match flow. It's called something else in NXT. He did a promo talking about attacking everybody he's attacked.
It was well shot. It was like a nice single close-up shot of him with a bunch of B-roll. Yeah.
So then Javon is in Ava's office, and he says, I want a match with Paige. And Ava's like, no, your jaw's still broken. You're not cleared. But Cedric is. So Cedric steps in and says, I'm going to get Ethan for both of us. They leave. A-Town Down Under walk in. Says, you've been doing a great job, Ava. And Ava's like, you're supposed to be here next week. And Waller says, yeah, that's because the winner of the title match could be on the Waller effect. We're here, though, so we'll just go watch the main event.
Mm-hmm.
And they do.
Yeah, Javon's hilarious with the broken jaw thing. That guy's got so much charisma.
Oh, yeah.
He's so good. He's so damn
really
good.
Is.
He's going to
really
be a big deal, man.
Oh, yeah. Then we got Stephanie Vaquer talking about losing that match last week to Shotzi. She has an interview, says, I want the North American title. Fatal Influence is doing everything to stop that. But I'm not going to stop because Fallon wants to play with my opportunity or because Shotzi benefited from the situation. Shotzi, you become champ. You meet hell. Fallon, you can run, but you can't hide.
Fraxium also talks about TNA because they showed up at Genesis. They're going to be defending the tag titles. Frazier's like, yeah, there's little doubt that we won. Axiom was like, oh, it's close because in this division you never know. Fraxium says we're the best tag team on the planet. We're going to prove it Thursday on TNA against the Rascals. And then that brings in Briggs and Inamura. Briggs is like, hey, did you guys forget about me? About us? Inamura says Fraxium calls themselves the best, but you guys are dodging us. And then Frazier asks Briggs and Inamura, who you guys ever beat? And then OTM rushes in and attacks Briggs and Inamura. So I'm assuming that's going to be a number one contender match right there.
Yeah, I would think so. And then Carmen took on Jada Parker.
Yeah, for the Nikita line. That was hilarious.
Jada's looking for a finisher, but then Kalani Jordan runs out and gets on the apron. The distraction allows Carmen to roll up Jada to get the win. And then Carmen leaps into Shanti's arms as they celebrate, and then Jada argues with Kalani.
They got a love connection. Also, Andre Chase. Oh, man, this guy is a mess. Kind of bum-ass Chase here.
Yeah.
So Hank and Tank are talking to Andre Chase. Chase is like, you know what? All tag teams just break up eventually anyway, so you might as well just break up now. You guys should be looking out for yourselves. And then he says, you know what? Forget I ever said it. And then he just leaves. He walks into the break room. People are watching like an old highlight YouTube video of Chase U stuff where he's just like on a rampage, like talking shit to his students. And Cale Dixon steps up. He's like, oh, Chase, you're a badass. Oh, I was a badass, but Chase U is dead. And then he walks away. And Dixon says, doesn't have to be.
Having Chase sound like Darby Allin there.
Chase U 2.0 on the way.
Yeah, seemingly.
With Cale Dixon as top student.
Seemingly.
Wait, where's the other people? Where's Thea Hale? Where are they at?
I bet somewhere. They're just not on TV.
All right.
I'll tell you, man.
Anyways, would you like to answer some questions?
Let's answer some questions.
By the way, programming note. I know we've been mentioning this on our programming lately, but programming note. Tomorrow, there is a count out. It's a fun one.
Yeah. I gotta put that together today after we're done here.
That's gonna. What is the title for that one gonna be?
I don't know. We gotta. I'll come up with some ideas and we can brainstorm and see which one works best.
All right, sounds good. Boy, I laughed pretty hard during that count out.
There were some funny moments, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Be on the lookout for that tomorrow. But I think what you're trying to say is no SmackDown recap tomorrow night,
right? Because
the Saturday night main event on Saturday, so we're gonna do the full Saturday night main event recap plus talk about what happened on SmackDown then.
Correct. Yes. So
right,
that's going to happen on Saturday, obviously.
Oh, wow. Creamy Beef Tip says, in kayfabe, is it better to be a top guy in NXT or a mid-carder on the main roster?
Top guy in NXT, because there's a chance that you're going to get called up because you're the top guy in NXT. You can't name me many NXT main eventers, or at least NXT champions that didn't go on to do pretty decent things on main roster.
Nate Cruz says, do the titles in AEW still feel meaningful for you guys?
I mean, there's so many of them.
Not really. Not really.
You know, it's funny. In AEW, it feels like they have so many titles, but nobody really wants them.
Yeah, I know.
Think about this. AEW World title is more about the Death Riders.
About vanquishing Mox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not necessarily I want the gold. TNT title, no idea what's even had. He's teaming up with, who'd you say he's teaming up
2.0.
with? 2.0. Okay. No idea what's going on there. Kenny and the international champion, they're just in a feud because the Don Callis family.
Yeah, it's personal.
Okada's got the Continental champion. He's not even feuding with anybody right now.
Yeah, he got a match with Ishii, but not necessarily a story or a feud, yes.
Tag titles? I mean, Hurt Syndicate, they're just like, we want those. So that's kind of about that, but that's like kind of a fresh thing. Trios titles? Nobody's targeting.
No. I can't remember the last time Death Riders defended those. Tony's thing is, she's doing the rookie gimmick now, and it's almost like, oh, I'm happy for an opportunity.
The one person who is title centric is Mercedes.
Yeah.
Just 4 of them. She's making a big deal about that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, so many titles that nobody cares about. So why should the audience care about it?
Exactly. Kelmiko here says, if every company wanted to build the brands around Bruno length reigns, name a wrestler to be world champion on each show for the next 7 years. Dynamite, Raw, and SmackDown. So who's throwing on Dynamite that you want to have that title belt for 7 years?
Oh, who's the Bruno of Dynamite?
Yeah. Swerve.
It's Swerve or Hangman.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think so far Hangman has been a more dynamic character than like a lot of people, most people in pro wrestling, including like everybody on Dynamite. So I'd probably go with Hangman. I think it'd be more interesting there.
I was going to say yeah.
Because ups and downs.
Hangman or Swerve. Those are the 2 right answers. What about on Raw? Steve, you want Phil to have that belt for 7 years, right?
His body ain't going to stand for 7 years, man. Now on Raw, it would probably be, you know what? It would be, and I know he's not exactly the youngest guy in the world, but it would be Drew. Becomes the thing that he hates the most, Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
That'd be
Gunther
interesting.
shouldn't lose. Gunther has that forever.
And keep it in the mid card.
Just tepid creative the whole way, but he never loses.
SmackDown.
Who on SmackDown should have it for 7 years?
Oh, Cody. Ain't broke, don't fix it.
Alex Foster asks, what are your guys' thoughts on Ava as GM? I think she's great.
Oh, I think she's good. Yeah, I think she actually comes off as a legitimate GM. I think she's I think she's great. I think she's good. Blake Whitehouse asks if we've seen that Star Wars show, The Skeleton Crew.
No.
I have not seen it. I've heard good things about it.
Oh, I haven't heard anything about it.
You mean good or bad?
I haven't heard a thing about it. I didn't know it was on until I was going through Disney Plus, and I was like, what is this?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely has not had like the buzz of other shows, but I've heard good things about it.
All right.
But I haven't. I as of like 4 days from now, we're not even going to have Disney Plus.
Oh, you're
we
not?
Never use it. We never
use it very rarely. Yeah.
Let's see here. I'm just looking through.
Sure, I got one.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
What do we want? Time travel. When do we want it? That's irrelevant. It says, who would you like to see take the title off Mox? Secondarily, how excited are you for Syndicate versus Archer and Cage? That would be a fun match.
That will be a really fun match. Yeah. Yeah.
I want to see Hangman take that title off Mox.
Yeah, me too. Nick Kyle asks, will you be getting WWE 2K25 when it releases and bring back We Book Raw or W Steve W?
Doesn't seem likely.
I will get it and probably stream it for a while on my Twitch channel. So yeah.
Ty Moore here asks, after Private Party's forgettable tag reign came to an end last night, what would you say is the most forgettable title reign in AEW history?
Jeez. Sammy Guevara as AEW interim TNT champion.
All right. Even as TNT champion, I don't remember anything about his reign.
Yeah. I know, you know what? This is what I remember about his reigns. He goes up on really high things and he does this, and then he does something crazy.
Off,
Makes me nervous.
Yeah. All right, that's all the questions I got.
Here's a good one. Jacob Zimmerman says, what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
I'm not very good at adhering to this, but my dad told me, don't worry about things you can't control.
I've heard that one before from someplace. I don't think my dad ever... I'll be honest with you. My dad was obsessed with things that really didn't. He would get worried over little things. Like, I'll give you an example. I'll never forget this because I always clowned him after the fact. When Lacey and I had our wedding at the Crest, you have to get like venue insurance or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
He was like, Stevie, you need to get that now. It's going to cost you $2,000. He just made up that number because he thought it was an extreme number that would scare me into doing. I was like, hold on, Dad. I got on the thing. I was like, it's $100.
Yeah. Yeah.
He would always. So like, I don't know if I've ever been given good advice by anybody. No, you know what? No, that's not true. That's not true. I will tell you the good advice that I got. It was from my old boss at the Kings, Craig Amazine.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And,
mm-hmm.
you know, man, it was back when the Kings were owned by the Maloofs.
Mm-hmm.
And Craig was overseeing, like, he was doing the job these days of, like, probably 5 executives.
Yeah.
Because back then in 2009, 2010, being run by a family operation, an NBA team being run by a family operation, in the early days of social media, you didn't need 5 different departments to cover television, web, graphic design, social media. It was all in one house, at least here when it's a family operation. And I forget exactly at what period this was, but Machinima wasn't making any waves in terms of like bringing me on as an employee.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of bothering me a little bit. And so I was like, I was sitting there at catering, and which is funny that I got to sit in catering at one point, but it was for a Kings game. It was the media catering. And he comes over, he sits with me. And Craig liked me. He was like a bigwig, but he liked me. And he comes over, he's like, what's going on? I'm like, hey dude, what's up? And I just started telling him about, hey, you know what? And he's like, well, here's the thing, man. He's like, in your position, you need 2 things. You need internal leverage, meaning what do you mean to the company? And you need external leverage, meaning what can you get elsewhere?
Yeah.
He said, if you have both those things, then you're in a really good position.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to think, you know what, man, do I make waves or do I ride it out? Because my external leverage was just the Kings.
Yeah.
And as much as I had fun working for them, I didn't get the kind of creative satisfaction at the Kings that I had working with you at Machinima. And it's not like I was in a bad position. It was just like I wanted more. And I wanted, I wanted, basically, I kind of wanted to leave the Kings and just focus on that stuff. Because you and I had such a good time doing it. Just from a business perspective, I had to ask myself, do I see them continue to waffle or am I going to go places? And then 6 months before we got laid off, I got the employee gig. And then they laid us off 6 months later. So yeah, that's probably the best advice I've ever been given. But yeah, my dad, my dad and my mom, they always kind of showed me the way to live. They would never have to tell me anything. I would just see how my dad would interact with people. He was a very compassionate guy. He was a very selfless guy. And so I understood, hey, you should probably try to live that way because he seems really happy doing it. But he never, my parents never sat me down and were like, this is how you should, do this, that, the other.
My parents never did that either. I think when my dad said it was just because something came up, we were having a conversation, he just said it. It wasn't like, son, come here.
Yeah, I think one time, because my dad had lent some money to a friend that clearly was not going to get paid back, I think in response to that, while I was sitting there, he was like, yeah, man, never lend money you can't afford to never see again. Mm-hmm. That's a good piece of advice.
It is, yeah.
So, yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, I really love Craig, man. I thought he was such a good guy. Joe the Meme Maker says WWE gets the Casino Battle Royal and AEW gets the Championship Scramble. Who would do a better job with it? I think AEW could actually do a scramble pretty well.
Yeah, I think so. If they do something like Iron Survivor type match.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
They could probably do a pretty good job of that.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, have you heard this rumor?
What?
Dave Matuszek brings up rumors of WWE buying TNA.
I saw something about that this morning, yeah.
Is there any validity behind it? Do we know? Like, who's reporting it?
I'm aware of.
All right. With rumors of WWE buying TNA, do you fear for AEW's survival in case they don't find a new TV outlet. Well, they don't have to worry about that for a while.
Yeah, they got 5 years before they got to worry about that.
And this is one person I put stock into in terms of like backstage shit. Sean Ross Sapp, I remember, had said fairly recently, I think, that he's heard nothing but good things about. Oh, Meltzer mentioned it? Okay. Scooter says
Meltzer, that's right. I mentioned the TNA thing.
Yeah, in terms of like AEW and WBD, apparently everybody's happy. WBD's happy. I mean, they're always like, in terms of like their placement for the night, they're always really high.
Yeah.
Like comparatively speaking.
Yeah.
So I don't think that there's much ado about AEW having a problem
there with
staying on
Brothers.
WBD.
Yeah, I think as long as they can kind of maintain where they're at for the next 5 years, I think they'll be all right.
Yeah, I mean things are always kind of, you know, it's a fluid industry, obviously.
Yeah.
But for now, I think they're probably fine. WWE buying TNA, I don't know about all that.
Yeah.
Like,
now, I read something about it this morning. I think Meltzer was saying that WWE was thinking about doing that since all their international broadcasting is now on Netflix.
mm-hmm.
That for regional markets, they would want to use, I think he used TNA as an example, for those markets internationally, so that AEW couldn't get those deals.
They would use TNA as a way to stave off AEW. Yeah, I don't know about all that.
Yeah, I don't know about that either.
Let's see if we had any super chats. I know we had some channel members early on that I forgot to mention. I thought we did. I don't see them now. Anyways, if you got a channel membership, apologies if we didn't get to it. But, oh wait, I think I can check it here. Yeah, speaking of channel memberships, the final Big Blue Prediction event is happening soon. It's Saturday night's main event, so that form will go up pretty soon, I'm assuming.
I gotta see if Cody sent it. If not, gotta reach out to him.
And then, of course, that brings us to the February Big Blue Predictions Challenge, which I need to get a hat for that. And that's going to be, obviously the Royal Rumble, and then we'll figure out some whatever. Well, the Rumble could be just like the one event because like there's a lot, like the prop bets for entrances and shit.
Yeah,
that could definitely be a single event deal. But we'll have to talk about all that. You can get channel memberships and our Patreon. Just click join here at youtube.com/Steven Larson or go to patreon.com/Steven Larson and click on the Friendo Club setup. You get bonus episodes, access to our question threads, and access to the Big Blue Predictions Challenge. You get the same thing either way. Either go to the Patreon or click join over here. You guys get the same thing. So check that out. It's a great way to help support Going in Raw. Also hit that thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and the notify bell. Tomorrow morning, we'll have that count out up for you. It's a fun one. And then, of course, we'll see you guys on Saturday for Saturday night's main event. We'll see if Gunther is really in the main event of Saturday night's main event. Till next time, we'll see you guys around.
Goodbye.
God, family,
Stop.
cope.
For heaven's sake, stop.